I'm not going to lie, I've been feeling a mix of anger and despair since that Saturday night press conference. I didn't really know what the point of today's briefing today was. Do you?
I don't know what the point of the measures is. I mean, there's been no proof that I can see that wearing masks is going to be a defence against what I call Omicron, because that's how I was taught to pronounce the Greek letter. I can't see any proof that it's going to be a defence. I tell you exactly what's going on. I know it well from my own days in Parliament. This is the government saying we've got to be seen to be doing something, because if we don't do anything and it all goes wrong, we will be blamed. So we must be seen to be doing something. Now what can we do? And they choose what they regard as probably the least intrusive things, like masks in shops but not in restaurants, etc. But it
doesn't make sense.
There's no rationality behind any of it.
And there's no scientific basis behind it either.
Exactly. And I was on a train today, and of course now you've got to wear masks on trains, but you don't have to wear them if you're eating and drinking on the train. Eat and drink all the way, don't you?
Did you have a number of cups of tea?
I had a number of cups of tea.
No, it does feel ridiculous, but what I'm angry about is the fact that the government actually tried to stoke the fear in this case. And I think Boris needed to stand up to the doomsday duo, Whitty and Valance, because actually it's not often I praise Joe Biden. But his rhetoric overnight in the US was in stark contrast to Boris. He said, Anne, we don't need to panic. There's no need for new lockdowns, and let's just wait. And I don't know why Boris couldn't have taken the same approach.
Well, I mean, the other thing is, where is this Omicron? It's in South Africa. Are the South Africans in a tiz about it?
No.
No, they're not, because the experience of it is that it only affects people mildly. And the question is not how many people get COVID. That now is no longer the question. The question is how many people get it so badly that they have to be hospitalised or indeed, suffer fatality. But that is the question. And the thing which really gets me is we have been reasoned with, we have been threatened, we've been cajoled into having our vaccinations. And now we're being told it doesn't make any difference. You still have to wear masks, you still have to do this, you still have to do that. And it is a nonsense.
And even the vaccinated travellers now have to self-isolate until they get a very costly PCR test, which means that travel all of a sudden becomes the domain again for the rich and for the privileged. And I feel like Sajid Javid, when he started as Health Secretary, said all of the right things. We're going to learn to live with this. I understand the cost of lockdowns. But it feels like, Anne, the moment he's become a minister, and I know you've been there, so tell me what it feels like. The moment he's become a minister, he's become a little bit drunk on the power.
Oh, I tell you what the issue is. The issue is this wretched thing called collective responsibility. And if everybody around you is in a big panic, you can't do Kipling's if. You actually have to go along with the big panic, because that is collective responsibility. So I would actually give quite a lot to know what he really thinks of this. I'd like to be a fly on the wall when he's talking to his family or whoever, when he can really say what he thinks, because I think that is what this is about. This is Boris having a panic.
And do you think the government needs to level with us about the vaccines? Because we were initially told 15 million jabs to freedom. Yeah. Then we were told that if we all got the double jabbing, we would be allowed to be released. Now it feels like we're talking about a world where potentially you'll have to be jabbed once every 3 months.
Yes, and that is something I'm personally resisting. I've had the 2 jabs. That was fine, and I think we were way ahead of most of the rest of the world, and we have a lot to be proud of in our vaccine programme. But I've said when it comes to the 3rd jab, I've just had an antibodies test. I want to know what my antibodies are before I have yet another jab. And, of course, that's not open to everybody because you have to pay for an antibodies test. And I feel very strongly that we have... I wouldn't say we've been deceived, but they've lost their nerve. The government has lost its nerve. And it's just as well that we haven't got Luftwaffe bombs sort of raining down on us. And, because Churchill... I mean, Boris may be many things, but he ain't Churchill. He really isn't.
Well, there's a need, isn't there, to stay the course, and we never seem to do that. And I worry that this sort of pseudoscience that's been promoted is actually going to undermine the messaging that the government worked on for so long. Because Anne, there are a lot of people, and I don't describe them as anti-vaxxers. I think that's offensive in a lot of cases, but there's a lot of people who are vaccine hesitant, who are worried because this is a new jab, an experimental jab. And if all of a sudden you're saying, oh, no, you don't need to wait 6 months now. Overnight, you can wait 3 months and it's completely safe and don't worry about it. Well, actually, where's the evidence? Where is the evidence to tell us that is the right approach and that is safe? There doesn't seem to be any.
And if you remember, the reverse happened in the early days of Pfizer, when we were initially told that we should have it done in 4 weeks. And it was, no, it's OK, 12 weeks is fine. And nobody could quite understand why there was such conflicting information. Now, to a certain extent, we're learning on the job. And I do allow that for the government. They're learning on the job, same as, the scientists are learning on the job. And they are going to, therefore, revise advice from time to time. But this does smack of panic.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got a new strain. Well, what the dickens do you expect? Viruses do mutate. I mean, that is the law of viruses.
Always going
they
to
mutate.
Happen. Totally.